Okay, so this is the tournament summary for the Six Nations for Scotland. There's one for each nation. They should all be up around the same time. There's tons of information in this. I'm not going to talk about everything. You can pause the video, look at the graphics, and there's lots of stuff here for you to dig into if you're so inclined. In terms of their record, they finished third. They had 3 wins and 2 losses. Their average score was 24-20, so positive on that front. In terms of first half, average was 10-11, and then they improved in the second half. Average was 13-9. In terms of tries, they were ranked third. Kicking percentage from the tee was fifth, and discipline was second. They had 1 yellow card and 1 red card, and they gave away 3 free kicks. In terms of possession and territory, then, if we look at the graphics there, we can see that a lot of the games, they were actually fairly even. Like, kind of the outliers were against Wales, where there was a big swing in possession towards them, and against Italy, where there was a big swing towards Italy. And then in terms of territory, they tended to have actually less territory in the second half, and they had less territory, but they actually did overall a better job. I think they were just a bit more clinical when they did get into position, apart from obviously that game against Ireland. In terms of then their breakdown and set piece, they are ranked third for rucks, third for mauls, third for scrums, and fifth for lineouts. The lineout was actually the second best in the tournament up to round 3, so that kind of fell away a bit for them. And you can see actually if we have a look at the graphic there, you can see that the lineout performance really did fall away in the last few rounds. Their scrum then was a bit up and down as well, but improved towards the end of the tournament. In terms of then their attack, they were fourth for clean breaks, second for defenders beaten, third for offloads, fourth for turnovers conceded, and fifth for number of kicks. On to then running, they were ranked third, runs was third, and meters per run was third, and passing was third as well. So kind of very consistent there with their attack as well. In terms of, if we look at the graphic then, we can see that they kicked 8% of the ball, they ran 39% of it, and they passed 53% of it, which is kind of around the same as a lot of the other teams, like kicking actually down a bit. But I've got an extra graphic on this one, because if we look at these two now, we have attacking round 1 to 3 and 4 and 5. You can see that the kick percentage in rounds 1 to 3 was actually 10%, which is up near the top in terms of overall. And then for rounds 4 and 5 was only 5%. So they really did change their strategy. And if you look at, like, runs was exactly the same. They actually stopped kicking and started passing more. And I'm not sure why they did that. Obviously, Finn Russell had like strapping on his leg against Ireland. Maybe that had an effect in that game. And then Blair Kinghorn was just a very different 10 who likes to challenge the line and doesn't kick as much as Russell anyway. But it's kind of interesting, the big contrast between those two. Next, then, if we go on to their defensive numbers, so for number of tackles, they were number 1, missed tackles number 6, so they missed the least amount of tackles in the entire tournament, and the tackle percentage then was first overall as well, so really good there. You can see that their worst tackling performance was actually against France, and then their top tackling performance was against Italy, but they're also fairly good against Ireland and Wales as well. In terms of positives for them, that centre pairing got to be a huge positive for them coming out of this. Their defence as well, really good numbers for them. Their attack too. In terms of work-ons then, set piece definitely could be better. Discipline also could be better. And their adaptability. And what I'm talking about there is, especially, let's say, in the game against Ireland, where Ireland lose both of their hookers. They have Van der Fleer throwing into the line-out. Scotland didn't adapt their tactics, against that. They should have had jumpers up at the front, like 2 pods at every line-out that Van der Fleer was throwing in, and really make a mess of that. So, they need to kind of, when situations are going against them, need to be able to just change the plan on the fly a bit more.